Hi, I'm Mary Logston, and here I am at your library. Today at your library, we are going to feature some of the books that we have at the library on the subject of gardening. Don't know about you, but I am ready to get outdoors. Well, as I told you, today we have with us another one of the librarians here at Ames Public Library. Hi, Ann.
Hi.
Last month, I sat down with Justin and we talked about the ebooks that we have here at the library. Today, seeing that it is daylight savings time and it's actually spring, I believe there's been a thaw outdoors. I thought it would be a great time to talk a little bit about some of the gardening books we have at the library. But before we do, I just wanted to let our viewers know that Ann is responsible for a lot of different things here at the library, and you probably recognize her as one of the folks at the information desk who answers questions on a regular basis. You also buy a lot of books for the library.
Yes,
what's the sort of range of materials that you purchase for us?
I purchase the adult fiction and all the genre fiction, the mysteries, the science fiction, romance, and I also buy in the 600 area, which is that covers a lot of different things. It's in library land. You know, we tend to think of things in terms of Dewey Decimal numbers, and one of the things I buy are the gardening books, and they're in the 635s. And just to kind of point out the range of things we have in that area, we own over 772 books.
Wow. In
the 635s, covering a variety of gardening topics, which seems appropriate today. Like you said, we're getting a little thaw after this never-ending winter. I think people are starting to think a little bit about gardening.
Definitely.
And we have some of our newer gardening books here today.
Super. I think since you selected some, are you going to be, can you share a little bit about each? Are they new books? Are they, well, just why don't you just tell us what's special about the ones you have here?
These are books added this year or last year, so we have some of our newer titles.
Great.
And these few that we picked out are here just because they sort of represent the range of things that you're going to find in the gardening books. We have all the basic sorts of, you know, how to plan your garden, what plants to pick, things like that. Everything a basic, brand new, you know, if you're coming to it brand new, you would need, and also things for the really sophisticated gardener, the master gardener, that sort of thing. And these are just some of the more, I think, unusual things that we have in the collection.
I'm intrigued by the jacket on this top one. It's a nice looking book.
This one is called Seed Swap.
Okay.
It's The Gardener's Guide to Saving and Swapping Seeds. And this is a book that includes the history of seed saving, which is becoming kind of a worldwide sort of phenomenon, and talks about seed harvesting and saving techniques, and gives you a step-by-step guide to create your own seed bank. And then also something that's becoming more and more popular in various communities is a community seed swap. And it gives instructions on how to set up that kind of an event. And it just looks like a real fun book for gardeners who, they work really hard to cultivate the kinds of plants they want in their garden that go with the kind of climate we have and produce what they want. And so it's very important to save the seeds, and it's a fun way to share what you've created with other gardeners.
What's nice about that is you know that it's something that's successful because somebody else has grown it. That's really terrific. And I'm assuming that it's well illustrated.
Most gardening books tend to be well illustrated. Yes.
Terrific. What's your next book?
Next book is, this is getting out and gardening with your children. This is called Touch a Butterfly, Wildlife Gardening with Kids. And this is a way to create an outdoor space that will attract all those kind of fun things that kids are interested in: birds, butterflies, toads, worms, all that kind of cool stuff that kids can go out and really learn about nature right in their backyard. It's a fun way to interact with your kids. And we have several books on this topic, really, and I think it would be a fun thing to do with some young children.
It's interesting, we think about parenting books, and there's a certain area of the library where we have parenting books, which are books about child development and those sorts of things, but parenting in the garden is kind of a nice angle on that topic as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that one.
This next one is kind of intriguing to me. It's called The Beautiful Edible Garden. This is for the gardener who knows that you want to grow food, but you really don't want your yard to look like a farm. You don't want to tear it up. You still want to have a beautiful little yard in your neighborhood. And this shows you how to use vegetables, fruits, herbs in really attractive ways. You're still getting the benefit of growing all those nice, good things, but your yard still looks pretty. So this one has all kinds of ideas for not just your backyard, where maybe no one's going to see it, but your front yard, for containers, window boxes, that sort of thing. But anything to make it look pretty and also produce something that you can consume.
Okay, well that's nice, great.
This next one, Beautiful No-Mow Yards, is an interesting one. The author says that she's kind of on a crusade to get people away from just the green turf lawn. Environmentally, she says that those lawns, take a lot of water, and people use pesticides, that sort of thing on them. And so she's an advocate for these no-mow yards, and she's given 50 different alternatives, ways you can grow things that look beautiful, don't take a lot of intervention. She does say, though, that you need to check with your municipality or wherever you live to see if there are any kinds of ordinances or anything about what your yard can look like. But she offers a lot of alternatives, and she really says in this day and age when people don't have much time to take care of their lawns and they want to be a little more environmentally conscious, that this is an interesting way to go.
It's interesting because I have childhood memories of Saturday morning waking up to the sound of all the neighbors out mowing their lawn, and it's interesting, like you say, you do from time to time walk around a town and see yards that are just turned over to plants, like for example here, and to see that in the front is really kind of a treat.
Right, and well done, not looking unkempt and anything. These are nicely planned out and look really nice.
Yeah, great. Okay, what else have you got?
This one is maybe not one that the individual gardener would be using a lot. This is a book on it's called The Professional Design Guide to Green Roofs. And I think we all became aware, in Iowa anyway, of green roofs a lot when the Des Moines Public Library several years ago went with a green roof in their new design. And this book is an in-depth exploration of rooftop garden design and the whole process behind it. It has a lot of pictures of rooftop gardens throughout the world and shows how they address different environmental issues, but they offer aesthetically pleasing kind of places for people, and it brings people and nature together, often in the, in the cityscape. And it's just a very interesting look at thinking of gardening in a different way, really.
And that could be, like you said, institutional as well as a green roof adjacent to an apartment building where folks live. So. Interesting. One more is here.
This other one here is called Small Space Container Gardens. And this is a fun way for people who want to garden. They don't really have a real garden where they have a lot of space and they can, till up the land and everything. This is for people who want to get their hands dirty and grow something, create something in a small space. And it tells you how to transform your balcony, your porch, or patio by using container gardening. And really she shows how to grow just about anything in a container. Fruits, flowers, just foliage so that you can have a green space on your patio, herbs. And I think it's a popular little niche in gardening because a lot of people and I think I would include myself, I don't think I could sustain a large garden, but I could be interested in trying to keep something in a container alive and looking pretty. So
it's a manageable, the scope is manageable for most people.
Definitely.
I would imagine in a university town too, we've got lots of folks living in apartments, students who certainly don't have a plot of land to tend, but container gardening would be perfect for them as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's super. What a range. Now I see, as you pointed out, there are 700 some odd books, and we have even some more here. You and I were talking a little bit ago about the fact that gardening is not only a topic that you'll find in the books about gardening, the nonfiction, but there are some other areas of the library where gardening might actually be featured. And so I think you have a few of them down here.
Yeah,
What's that?
I have a couple. There's a set of books that are more just pictorials of beautiful gardens throughout the world, really. This first one, A Rich Spot of Earth, is a book about Thomas Jefferson's garden at Monticello, and the head gardener at Monticello has recreated Jefferson's garden exactly how it was when he was at Monticello. It's a beautiful book, lots of color pictures, and just really interesting to show you what gardening was like during the early 19th century, what kind of plants were cultivated. So a little history with your gardening there.
Okay, and that's a book that also is in the gardening section, but it's not how-to, it's a pictorial of a special garden in America. As you said, there are also world gardens.
Right, and this takes us to a little bit different number in the library. In the 700s, we have a landscape architecture, so some of these sorts of books fall in that area too. This one's called Heritage Gardens, and it is another really beautiful book, lots of gorgeous pictures about the most fascinating public and private garden restorations in the last century that occurred in the UK and Europe and the United States. And this author did extensive research. He went into archives, found original plans for the gardens, looked at photographs from the time period when the garden thrived, and even paintings of the time period, so that you know, these gardens could be recreated in such a way that made them look like they did originally. Yeah, it's a really pretty book.
A pretty book, so it's a history as well. So that's great. And what about fiction?
Fiction, we've got, well, this first one actually this is a memoir.
Oh, a memoir, okay.
This one is kind of an interesting book about Kurt Timmermeister was a chef and restaurateur in Washington State, and he left that business to start a farm, a small scale farm, and he had all kinds of projects. He did beekeeping, vegetable farming, raw milk. He finally ended up making artisanal cheese. But what he did to keep this whole thing afloat was he started preparing weekly meals using everything that he was growing at this farm. And they became quite well known in the area. They were known as the Kurtwood Farms Cookhouse Dinners. And this book tells the story of all these locally grown items from his farm, so from farm to table. And it's a really interesting look at that whole movement from someone who really has a lot of experience with it.
And this is something that is new, so it's in our new arrival section, which is just right near to the information desk, and it's in the cookbook section. I noticed. Yeah, okay. And how about for those people who just like their gardening as a backdrop in fiction? We
have several mysteries. Cozy mysteries are those mysteries that usually don't have real violent scenes in them. There's a murder, of course, otherwise it wouldn't be a mystery, but these all have garden settings.
Great.
This Roots of Murder is the first in the series about a widowed flower shop owner, and her name is Bretta Solomon, and this first one she begins to investigate the mysterious death of an Amish farmer who's always supplied her with flowers. So this introduces us to this character, and there's several in this series, so if you like to read about mysteries with gardening settings, this is a good place to go.
Great.
And we also have,
what else do you have?
Death of a Garden Pest is another nice series about gardening. We've got our creepy little bug with the skull on it here. This is set not in a rural setting. This is in Washington, D.C., and the main character in these novels is an organic gardener, and in this one she's framed for murder when the environmental slant of her public television program alienates some key people in Washington. So she becomes the target, and then goes on subsequently in other books just to solve garden-related mysteries, which I guess there are a lot of those in Washington, D.C.
Okay, great.
Then the last one I have is called The Lost Gardens, and this is an English garden mystery. And these are actually written by a prize-winning rose expert, and he's written a whole series of these. In this particular one, we're back on the theme of restoration gardens, and a human skeleton is found during the restoration of a priory's gardens. And then the main character, I think maybe based a little bit on the author, is an eccentric former professor of botany, and he's an amateur sleuth, and so he launches his investigation. And again, this is one of several in a series, so if you like this character, you can read several books that feature him.
Wonderful. My gosh, I don't know about those of you watching, but I am inspired to get outdoors and to start enjoying gardening, enjoying looking at other people's gardens, and I think it's really a fun idea to explore some of these series books too. So thanks for giving us such a nice variety of things to read. I guess we could make a plug for our mystery lovers book group
Right.
since we ended on mysteries. How often does that meet?
That meets once a month. We're the first Wednesday of the month at noon, and we pick a certain author each month, and everyone just reads any title by that author, and we get together, discuss the background of the author, discuss our reactions to the different stories, and it's a real interesting, diverse kind of group. We have a lot of different opinions. We get pretty lively discussions sometimes about these mysteries.
Great, great. Well, as I said, Anne, you do a lot of different things here at the library, and today we've just had a little bit of a insight into that. Thanks so much for bringing these wonderful titles to our attention.
You're welcome.
And now, stick around to see some of the new titles that have just been added to the Ames Public Library collection. Thanks so much for being with me today. I don't know about you, but having listened to Anne talk about all of those great gardening books, I'm really eager to get out this month and start to work in the garden. Something else that is a spring-like activity here at the Ames Public Library is the semi-annual book sale. This year's April book sale is scheduled for April 25th through April 28th, the weekend of April 25th through April 28th. And once again, for the last time, it's going to be over at our 809 East Lincoln Way location. While we're still here in this temporary location, we will be holding the book sale out at 809 East Lincoln Way. Again, April 25th through 28th. Come on out and look for some great bargains of books in the Ames Public Library Friends Foundation semi-annual book sale. Thanks again for being with me today. This is Mary Logston at your library.